I don't want to dive too much into Kanye. I'm sure everyone knows the horrible comments that he made recently.
Yes.
But I think, karma comes sometimes sooner rather than later. And I think Adidas dropping him as a client, is that what you want to call it? A client? As a partner?
Partner, I guess.
A partner is probably the best thing to ever happen to him, because I feel like hopefully now Kanye will realize that like his words actually like matter and like they weigh on people.
Like I feel like Kanye is like living in this world of like, oh, I'm this like evil but like genius, like can say what he wants, like tortured artist, like anything I say doesn't have consequences. So like now it's like, here are the consequences.
Exactly.
I know a lot of people were wondering like what Adidas was gonna do. So I do think like, I don't know. Do you think they waited too long? Like, I feel like he was saying stuff, or do you think they acted quickly? Because I feel like for a while people were like, Adidas hasn't done anything yet. Like, what's going on? They haven't spoken up about it, but
maybe they were waiting for like Kanye to come out with a statement, like maybe apologizing. Or, but I feel like there's nothing that you can really say or do to come back from like the comments that he made. So maybe they did wait too long. But I think honestly, the fact that they broke up with him at all is a huge statement. I mean, they're going to lose in just 2022 alone, $246 million. And that's like,
that is insane.
That's enough to make the people of Adidas probably panic.
Yeah.
Like all that revenue that or profit they're losing, like that's going to affect a lot of people internally at Adidas.
But he's losing his billionaire status too, right?
He is. So after they had terminated him, basically an article came out that he's since lost his billionaire status. It says the Adidas accounted for 1.5 billion of Kanye's net worth. So without it, he's valued at 400 million, according to Forbes.
That's crazy.
Just for some ugly shoes? Like what? I can't believe that's how much money he was making.
He was making so much money. That's crazy. I don't know. I mean, I think Adidas did the right thing. I would too. I do think that sometimes brands like wait to see what the public's outrage is before they act on things a little bit, which like I get it because it's like all PR ultimately, but yeah, pretty crazy.
I guess Gap, Balenciaga, Vogue, even his divorce lawyers have all dropped him. So he's going to be
that's crazy
riding solo.
Maybe this will finally teach him a lesson.
Last I heard, Netflix is not dropping their documentary, like his documentary from their platform. So I'm curious to see how that pans out and if they stay true to that. Because they said that in the documentary, he doesn't make any remarks. So like there's no reason to remove it from Netflix. But I think they should remove it because like don't give him any clout, you know?
Yeah. I think that this is one of those things where I always wonder, people are so pissed at Kanye, but next time he drops an album or people are going to forget. Like, I like to remind everyone of what happened with Travis Scott. I think sometimes we like to forget. And I like to remind everyone that he's a shitty person. And I think every time people forget, I like to remind them. But like people forget, people move on. Like when people are so talented, the general public forgets why they're so upset and they get over it. I hope that's not the case for Kanye because I feel like he's done so many offensive things lately that I want there to be some level of like accountability.
Yeah.
But like, it's just frustrating. I feel like people are gullible and they just get over things so quickly. They get mad quick, they get over it quick, and I don't know. Not saying people get like mad too quick at this because I think everyone has a reason to get mad. But I just feel like I've seen so many instances where people are outraged and then in like a week no one's talking about it anymore. And it's honestly kind of frustrating.
It's funny you say that because I saw a theory on TikTok basically saying that Kourtney like either low-key resents her sisters, or the reason why she stopped wanting to be on the on the Kardashian show is because back in the day, like, you know, I'm talking like way back in the day when they were still on E! News with Keeping Up with the Kardashians, we saw the worst of the worst of Kourtney and Scott's relationship. Like we saw Scott, you know, punching glass mirrors in hotel rooms with
Right, like
blood
screaming
everywhere.
fights.
Screaming, acting out of control. We saw the actual worst of the worst. And in this day and age, we see nothing. They address nothing about Kanye, about Travis, kind of Tristan a little bit. I'll give them that.
Yeah,
but
they do kind of obviously they talk about that because it was very shocking. But you're right. They do not talk about anything with Kanye.
They don't. Everything is kept hush hush on the shows. They actually edited out the whole Astro World thing out of the show when I think they could have used it as an opportunity to talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
But instead they
grieve
didn't.
the loss of all these people that died, but instead they pretended it didn't happen and pretended Kendall was on vacation.
Right.
Which is so ridiculous.
They came up with a whole fabricated story that wasn't true. Meanwhile, Courtney's being vulnerable and being an open book, and now everything with her sisters, with their relationships, is kept completely private, and it's kind of not fair that Courtney, if it wasn't for Scott, I wouldn't have even started watching probably.
True. He was the best character.
He was, even though he was a maniac, it was still entertaining. And obviously I don't want to prey on people's downfalls. I want them to all have happy, healthy relationships. But the matter of the fact is they don't. So why not capitalize it some more?
I know. I also feel they've just gotten so famous now though, to the point where back then they weren't as famous. Back then they were a true just reality show. Now they are the Kardashians. They're almost a different level of they can do whatever they want, which is crazy.
Yeah.